Your mind knows everything. You cannot hide from it, so don't ever try.
Don't try. You might as well go ahead and beat that motherfucker up. You gotta keep going at it.
That's all.
If you're worried about something that someone did to you years ago, you're being a pussy to yourself, man. Not getting out there and squeezing that fucking soul out every day.
Yeah.
If you grind hard, man, I ain't got time to worry about your monkey ass. I ain't got time to worry about you, man. Because tomorrow, I gotta go back to the grind. And tomorrow, I gotta go back to the grind again and again and again and again. I don't have time to put you into the hate bank. There's no hate. It's all filtered out, man, through the grind. People don't get it. There's great joy in the grind. Great joy in the suffering. It totally cleanses your body out, man, of any kind of hate. Makes you grow up.
I think too often people, the typical life experience, unfortunately, because we have some creature comforts, particularly in the Western world, where, you can live a life and just stuck between 4 and 6. So maybe the happiest day of your year or your week, it's like the Super Bowl and your team wins the Super Bowl and you crush a couple beers with your buddy and you high five and you're like, oh, that was awesome. Like, that was cool. But it's not 10. I mean, it's a 6. And then like maybe the worst day of your week, it's like a Monday and your boss yells at you or something like that. And you're like, oh man, like that's kind of bummer. But you know what? I don't really give a shit about my job anyway. So like, I'm not really that bummed about it. It just like is like, I'm just kind of like in this like life of like quiet desperation in the middle. And I think a lot of that has to do with because we're hedging or we're afraid of the ones. We're just like, I don't want to experience a 1. I don't want to experience discomfort. I don't want to experience pain, like anything to do that. But what I've realized, I think of it like kind of a pendulum, like swinging the totality of life experience. Like to get to the 10s, you also need to embrace the 1s. Like the totality of life and the experience, I'm not experiencing these high highs or these hedonistic joys or these beautiful flow states or things like that, in spite of the 1s, in spite of the challenge, but it's because of them.
Yeah.
By pulling my sled, 53 days, on my 53rd day of pulling my sled across Antarctica, I get there, my hips are poking out, my ribs are sticking out, I'm exhausted. I can barely pick my duffel bag up to put it in my sled. My body's completely compromised. I'm exhausted. But then I tap into the deepest flow state of my entire life. I find this place in my mind, in my body, in my soul. And, I pushed 32 hours without stopping to the finish line. And I wouldn't have gotten there had I not pushed myself, had I not, gone through this difficulty. I like to say that, pain is mandatory. These challenges are painful, straight up. Pain is mandatory. Make no mistake about this. The obvious things I'm doing are painful, they're hard, whatever. But the suffering part is optional.